On the agenda tonight, we're going to be taking a look at the Hindley Street Country Club channel on YouTube. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So, video links are in the description below. If you want to watch any of these videos I'm going to be watching independently, I have isolated the vocals, run them through the pitch monitoring software as always. And by the way, this is going to be More Than a Feeling, one of my most favourite songs of all time by Boston. So we will have a listen to this and see what we can see.
This morning and the sun was gone, I turned on some music to start my day. I lost myself in a familiar song. I closed my eyes and I slipped away.
Okay, so I'm just going to be jumping in here. And, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that we are stuck to these lines. So, now, this sounds to me a little bit more like live auto-tune. Yeah, this is really heavily calibrated. I'm just going to take it forward a bit.
It's more than a feeling when I hear that old song they used to play. I begin dreaming.
So, I mean, this song, undoubtedly, it's got to be way up there for one of the hardest songs to sing live. I mean, well, just full stop, with range and, you know, control, all that kind of stuff, controlling airflow and not wrecking your voice while you're trying to sing it, but also hitting the pitches accurately. Obviously, we're not hearing the pitches that are being hit here because they're being calibrated to A440 standard pitch equal temperament. So, yeah, I'm not saying that this particular vocalist can't sing it. I'm sure that he can sing it. Everybody will know that, you know, Brad Delp's voice in the studio on this particular song is absolutely insane. And I am actually going to get the original on screen so we can have a look at that now. Let's have a listen to it.
I looked out this morning and the sun was gone.
And I mean, have a look at this. This always happens when we're looking at great singers. They're not on these lines. You know, Brad has just come up here and just touched that B3, but then he's flat. In today's music industry, that would be wrong. And this is double track, by the way. You can probably hear it.
Turned on some music to start my day.
And the fact that it's double tracked means that we get an approximation, actually an average of two voices. So because Brad was so accurate pitch wise, those two voices added together meant that he will be on these lines now and again. B3, absolutely spot on, but then flat. You know, I'm just going to let this play through and I'll attempt to try and change this so we can hear it a bit louder.
Then lost myself in a familiar song. I closed my eyes and I slipped away.
And there, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. That one note, well, that B4 that Brad is holding, who's ever listened to that song and go, oh, I can't listen to that B4 because it's so flat. But look where it is. Again, just a natural voice. And when we go back, we did have, I mean, yeah, we're over the line here and then in between lines here, but there was a little section where, again, it is two voices, so that's why it's going to be so seemingly accurate, even though we're actually sharp here and then we're flat here. And we're pretty much over the line here, and we could maybe argue that that's over the line as well. It's almost like with two voices, you double your chances of being really accurate. I mean, just Brad's vocal, it's just spot on. I mean, I'm talking from an emotional point of view, artistic point of view, that he's not, you know, when he comes in for the chorus, he's flat of the G4. Now he's sharp of the F sharp 4. Oh, and look at that, over the G4, and then we actually came down to be below. And he's totally missed that at the top. Yeah, according to today's music industry standards, he's totally missed the pitch of the B4 and the C5 as it should have been. Or it shouldn't have been. It was. That's what it was. And that's just what it sounds like, because that's what it is. So it doesn't need to be changed. But anyway, what I want to say is that when we go back to the cover version, I mean, when you start listening to it, it sounds so different. And it's the processing sound that you get. And this is what you get with, unfortunately, music that is released now. And obviously YouTube channels that are applying this in post-production, but also using auto-tune live. You've got the same sounding vocal for every singer now. So when we go back to listening to Brad again, and I begin dreaming, and there we have it. So directly over the line, the G4, as I said, great singers can do this, and Brad certainly was one of those. And have a look at the way that we are flat of the A4 beforehand, and listen to that vibrato, and it's something you're never going to notice unless you isolate the vocal. At the end, he dips down and goes significantly flat. See that Mary Ann walking away. And again, we've got two voices here, so yeah, we are going to get a really accurate sound to this vocal, or at least where the pitch monitoring software is plotting it. Because it's plotting, it doesn't know it's plotting two voices, it's taking the average of those two. And that's why we're straight over that line. This isn't auto-tuned. I'll just skip it forward a little bit.
So many people have come and gone. Their faces fade as the years go by.
I mean, it's amazing. It's all double tracked.
Yet I still recall as I wander on, as clear as the sun in the summer sky.
And again, I mean, this is the great thing about looking at things in this detail. And I know that I'm getting sidetracked here by Brad's voice. But guess what happened the first time he hit this note? He was slightly flat of the B4. When he goes to hit this note again, guess what happens? He's slightly flat of the B4. It's just a natural vocal tendency that he has as a human. You don't need me to even go to it to show you that the B4 is going to be directly over the line. And let me now go here. And it's amazing how when you listen to isolated vocals and even going back kind of 50 years and 60 years, 70 years, when you're looking at vocals and isolating them and listening to them from that time period before digital pitch correction or auto-tune, how even the isolated vocal sounds natural. You can't hear any processing on it. But then listen to this. It just sounds different because it's going through a process. You're hearing literally a computer processor working to make this happen, because that's how it's achieved. Whereas the other voice, it's not going through anything. That's just Brad's voice. And it's actually two of his voices, but that was the sound he was making in front of the microphone when he recorded that song. And that's always going to connect on a deeper level if you're actually hearing the voice of the person unedited, because you're going to appreciate their communication and the story that they're telling you, because there's nothing interpreting that and then giving you another version of it that's now over the lines of A440 standard pitch. Some people might not want to listen to it, but I'm going to play it anyway.
Slipped away.
And there we have it. So, anyway, I mean, this guy that's singing, I think actually he is better than he sounds. I know it sounds stupid, Because you say, oh, well, how can he be better than auto-tune being over these lines? Because he will have a natural expression to his voice that we are not hearing. Because this guy singing would not be singing this song unless he's got this range. You don't rely on technology to go that far for you, that think, right, I'm going to sing, a semitone or a tone lower than the high note, and then I'll get the software to move it for me. It doesn't work like that. He can definitely sing this, but he's going to sound better than this.
When I hear that old song that used to play.
And I guess that is, I don't know, the irony of it, but also the really sad part of it, that a singer who might have a great voice, we're not allowed to hear that anymore. We've now got to hear the product of live auto-tune. So, yeah, it is a shame. I went through that performance, and another one came up because I thought, what if I've just exactly this last analysis video, what if I've only been sent that one performance that has been either auto-tuned or pitch corrected? So then I listened to this one on the right hand side, which was I Have Nothing, and as you can see, I did the same process. So I had to listen to the Whitney Houston version, but also let's listen to the HSCC version first.
Take me for what I am, 'cause I'll never change all my colors for you.
So again, I'm not saying that the vocalist can't sing or anything like that, but again, this is pitch corrected, so we are kind of being stuck over these lines, as you might have picked up. But as I kind of run through it, you'll see everything just being centralized and dragged over these lines, and it's going to be the same. We do have like that a little bit of freedom going on, so we've got this vibrato that actually kind of ascends and descends, so we get a bit of a nice flow to it. But then we kind of get this thing again, it's just overly done, kind of 4 points in a row there that absolutely stuck on lines. So as we go through it, and again, that held note.
Don't let me close one matter. I don't wanna hurt anymore. Stay in my arms if you dare. Almost dying there, you there.
And that's the kind of thing that, it's maybe a little bit overdone, but you can tell that this vocalist has a great voice, even kind of a smoky quality in there as well, which is great. It's just a shame we're not actually getting to hear her voice, because it's going to sound better without the tuning. So anyway, what I've done is we're going to be comparing this to Whitney's original release. So I'm just going to mute the cover video, and we're now going to hear Whitney's voice.
Take me forward.
And you'd say there she's a little bit sharp, and then here she's actually between notes.
What I am.
Absolutely bang on there.
'Cause I'll never change.
Technically sharp, and over here now we're really starting to lock in to A440. So the E4 bang on, the D4 bang on, the E4 bang on, and towards the end here as well, pretty much over that. And when we're looking at Whitney Houston's vocal, this was bang on down here as well. Whitney was sharp, she was flat, and then this vibrato held and ascended up towards the note. So Whitney has really missed the mark here. So going back to a point that I've made probably in multiple videos now about doing a cover of a song, especially this song, any vocalist would love to just get to maybe 75% of what Whitney did, that original, because this is the ultimate on the left here. So if the ultimate is not on these lines, why is this happening? Why this obsession with sticking the vocal over lines?
All my colors for you.
And that is the killer there. The way that she went, colours. And she went sharp at the end. That tiny bit of expression, that's what you lose when you stick it on a line.
Take my love.
And look at how, and we're going out of sync because obviously the original is a little bit faster tempo-wise than the cover. But look at how we are between notes here. You could not get more between the lines than that from Whitney. And again, this is the ultimate. This is like the gold standard. That's what everyone's aiming for, Whitney Houston's voice. And what's being done to the vocals means they're never going to get there because it's calibrated to something that Whitney was never calibrated to. But look, perfectly over the line here, between the lines, and even here we're still below. Even the held note at the end, slightly below.
I'll never ask for.
And look at where the held note is here. Just absolutely over the line. So we can already say that the cover version of this song is massively more accurate to A full 40 than Whitney ever was in the original.
I don't really need to look very much further. I don't want to have to go where you don't follow. I won't hold it back again.
And listen to that follow there. But it's almost like, I don't want to get, well, I am getting sidetracked by Whitney Houston's voice, but listen to the vulnerability in her voice.
You don't follow.
No, it's actually more of a wobble there. Kind of an emotional wobble that happened on that D4. It's actually flat off the D4 in between lines. Here, I just want to see where we are with the cover because we're not going to be in sync. So I'll bring that in quickly.
I don't want to have to go where you don't follow. I won't hold it back again. This passion inside.
I mean, it's amazing because you suddenly now get the appreciation of one that's almost on rails. You know, it doesn't have the freedom that the other vocal does.
I can't run from myself. There's nowhere to hide.
You actually heard the processing kick in there a little bit more. Right, now I'm going to jump over to Whitney. We'll have a listen to that. And look at that held note. Sharp, you know, so technically that was wrong. But I just want to go back to hear this note into the chorus. How many times have we seen this? And more so recently when we're looking and comparing pitch correction auto-tune to an original performance, that we see an A4 here from Whitney Houston is slightly sharp. And how many times have we seen a particular tendency by a singer to be sharp on a note whenever they go to it? Let's listen on. And look at the way again, not over lines at all there. And here's the A4. Look where she's hitting it in exactly the same place that she hit it going into the chorus. So yeah, it's great because you get to understand or at least appreciate why we feel a particular way with a particular singer is because obviously they're not calibrated to a tuning system. They're just communicating to you with their voice, but they have a particular expression on a particular note because of where they sing it naturally. And that, I mean, I know it's like sacrilege to say, but this A4 would be moved onto the line in today's industry. And now we have just bang over this line. So yeah, it really does prove the point that great vocalists can sing and will sing on these lines now and again, but they can give you an expression with one note that is different, because this is now different, the A4. So it's exactly the same as a great instrumentalist who can play just the same note. They don't need to play a million notes to be impressive. They can play one note and make it sound interesting all the time. And that's exactly what we've got going on here from Whitney.
Don't walk away from me.
So the equivalent of that, by the way, would be this line wouldn't register differently emotionally with us because we would have already heard it twice, because it would have been pitch corrected to this line. So we're getting the same expression 3 times over rather than a unique expression, the same related unique expression, and a different expression. So that's what you get in those 3 notes of Whitney's, and that's what's actually eradicated with pitch correction and auto-tune. You're getting the same expression for every note throughout a whole performance. But anyway, I just wanted to show another video and performance from the channel to cover all bases. And again, I'm not having a go at anybody here. I've been asked to analyze this to point out what is going on. So that's exactly what I've done. And the other songs, I've put that in as more of a comparison so that you can see the difference between a pitch corrected or auto-tuned vocal and an original vocal that was before the time of digital pitch correction and digital auto-tune live, so you can hopefully start to see the differences in pitch and the expression that unfortunately gets lost when you start calibrating people's voices to these lines. And again, I'll say that these singers that are performing that have been calibrated to A440, their voices will sound better than this. So don't judge them on what you're listening to here, because this is the product of a processor that is processing pitch. So it's not really their voice. It's been manipulated. So yeah, I'd say don't judge them by these voices, because their voices will sound better than this. But anyway, thank you guys for requesting this particular video for tonight. And as always, keep those suggestions and requests for future videos coming in the comment section below, as well as letting me know what you guys think. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!